What is up YouTube, and today we are going to be ranking all of the limited units in Epic 7, excluding the collaboration ones, so there are no collaboration units, in a tier list for PvP. Now I'm doing this because we've had a chain of some really strong limited units come out, and I just wanted to rank them so you guys can see, based off my experiences, where I think each of these units actually rank in a tier list. But before we start with today's video, I want to talk about AppGallery. AppGallery is a free way to get 20% cash back in the form of coupons for all of your in-game purchases for Epic 7 and also other mobile games when you use PayPal. By signing up today, you will receive a free $2 USD gift coupon as a welcome gift. AppGallery is available for Android phone and emulator users, and is not only for Huawei phone users as some might think. It is extremely easy to sign up. All you have to do is register directly on AppGallery when you download it on your emulator such as BlueStacks, and set your region to Brazil to access the rewards and welcome gift. Then you just search for Epic 7 or the game you would like to download and install the game, and now when you make purchases on that downloaded game, you will be able to get cashback and coupons when you use PayPal as your payment method. AppGallery is a completely free way to get money back on your purchases, so please guys, use it for free now, because why not? You're just getting money back on your in-game store purchases. If you guys don't actually know how to find your cashback coupons, it's very simple. Just log into Huawei AppGallery, go to the Me tab, and then click on your username at the top here. Then you go to payment and purchases. Then you will see, if you click coupons, if you have any cashback coupons from purchasing in-game, you will be able to use them from here. And when you guys actually purchase things in the store, you'll be able to actually see those coupons as a payment option, so you can do it in-game as well. And now back to the video though, guys. So this tier list basically is going to be focused on all of PvP. It's going to be for Arena offense, Guild Wars offense, Arena defense, Guild Wars defense, and also World Arena. Now some of you guys might actually weigh World Arena a little bit more higher because it's more of an endgame area of content, but I'll be weighing everything similarly because of course all of our viewers come from different backgrounds. You know, some played for maybe 6 years, some have played for maybe like 6 days, so we're just going to be talking about these units in a general sense for PvP. And starting off, we have at the top of the list, alphabetically, Afternoon Soak Flan, and unironically I think she is one of the best, if not the best, current limited units in Epic 7, and that is because for PvP she is very strong. There's not too many counters to her. She has 100% evasion built in, which is very insane. She has a lot of sustain with that evasion because you can build her on lifesteal set, and she can also attack when it's not her turn with the force dual attack with her focus system, which is super annoying because she hits extremely hard. And she also has AoE damage on her S1 as well, which is super frustrating to play against. And her S3 hits like a truck in defense breaks, so just a very powerful unit all around. Even if you build her slow and on lifesteal, she doesn't take a lot of turns, but she does a lot of damage with her dual attacks that trigger off of her allies' S1s. And she's just very frustrating, man. Like, she does so much damage when it's not her turn. And it feels like if you don't kill her fast, you lose, but it's hard to kill her fast because you can only really counter her with like seal and like anti-evasion stuff like that. So it's very annoying to actually play against her. Definitely one of the best PvP units right now. You can use her all the time in offense teams. She's everywhere on defense teams too. And she's first rotation a lot in World Arena RTA as well. I didn't really play this season too much after her release, but you know, when I was grinding at the end of the season to get the Masters, not really grinding, but just playing to get my skin, and I realized, Afternoon Soak Flan is pretty strong. Next up, we have a mid. A mid, not really used anymore. She used to be one of the best cleave enablers in the game, but because there's so many units that can actually outspeed her, ignore effect resist against her and stuff like that, she's not really used at all, which is very sad because you know, she was one of my favorite limited units in the game, very flexible, but you know, overall, I think her usage has definitely dropped. Blooming Litica, definitely a niche unit, I'd say, definitely for cleave. Mostly gonna play her with like Zio and like Requiem Rwana and like Summertime Asaria and stuff like that, especially Zio because she needs to actually activate her passive. You can also use her with Ran and Pera as well, but they're not seen as much anymore in the current meta, but she's really good at executing those very slow units, and currently you don't really see her too often, I'd say, because there's just better characters to cleave with, but she's still a solid cleaver. Biblis extremely niche unit. Kind of works like Verwana, right? The thing is, Verwana just does what she does, but better most of the time. And in the niche that she's good in, you don't really fight units that proc her passive that much, so not the best of the niche tier, but you know, still technically you can whip her out maybe like one in every few hundred games in RTA. And in, you know, offense teams, if you fight against weaker guilds, you'll probably be able to use her a lot more. Cerise, also not used at all, mostly going to be only used for PvE and like expeditions. In PvP, she's just not that good anymore. She's just power crept. She used to be like one of the best openers in the game, like first picked frequently like a couple years back, but you know, ever since, you know, better openers have come out, she's just not really being used. Diane. So Diane, I think, is not that bad of a unit. I don't know if I should put her in niche or good, but I'll put her in good tier because I think Diane is always, her kit is just always good, right? She has an AoE cleanse, she has a barrier, very fast cycling, she can push her team as well with an AoE CR push, she has that attack buff, crit damage buff. The only problem is earth units are super strong right now with young Senya's release, and especially since after Laya's release. And also she just gets completely destroyed by like Midnight Galilius, which we'll talk about. So she does have a lot of counters out there. Actually, let's put her not used. I think, you know, even though her kit is super good, there's just too many units that actually counter her too well. So we'll put her at like the top of the not used tier. Next we have Fairy Tale Tenebria. I'm gonna put her as a counter unit. Mostly you're only really gonna ever use her in World Arena, and that's only against super slow teams with no cleansing. So that's like 1 out of I don't even know how many games, very infrequently. But if you do make her work, she is very strong, especially after her buffs. You just can't pick her blindly because she gets outsped by a lot of things. She gets owned by Zio. Yeah, just her speed kind of holds her back, and you do need high effectiveness on her because she doesn't have ignore effect resist. Festive Ada, ever since her release, you know, she's been kind of crappy. She's not really used either. You can, you know, use her in some cleave teams, but there's just way better units to bridge with. She's like a bridge unit, right? She doesn't go first, but she will bridge into your, like go second or third to enable your team. But, you know, just not that great. Frida, on release, she was pretty powerful. I think she's still good. She's very good in aggressive team comps with her pushing, right, and her cleanse. I think she's a little bit underrated right now. I think people just kind of forgot about her, but I think she's still a pretty solid unit for PvP. Holiday Euphine, you can think that she's a niche unit because she counters debuff openers, but in reality, there's just way better units that do that with just way more upside and less downside. So for that reason, we're going to put her in the not used tier as well, probably around here. Laya, still a top tier unit, probably will always be a top tier unit, right? She has a super strong nuke in her S3, she has an AoE CR push in her S2 with a full cleanse that also resets her skill cooldown by 1 turn to counter like Noggles and stuff like that, who's still very frequent in the meta. And she also has a random dual attack on her S1, which is extremely powerful. We already know how strong that effect is on someone's S1, and just a very strong unit. I think it'll be very hard to push her out of the meta. There are counters to her, of course, right, that can kill her or deal with her easily, I'd say, but you can still pick her later on in the draft, and you can always still use her against anything that you need cleansing against. Landy. So I low-key think Landy's okay if you put her on like a tanky Bloodstone like lifesteal build. But to be honest, pretty hard to use her, right? Yeah, I think I'm gonna put her somewhere down here. Probably not used, right? Yeah. Lethe, good niche unit, one of the best niche units in the game. Very good against, you know, very tanky teams, very bad against injury, but she's a one-shotting legend, very good in Guild Wars offense. Luna, not really used. Yeah, just a pretty bad unit for PvP. Next, we have Midnight Galilius. I'm gonna put her at the top of good. Honestly, probably somewhere in between strong and good, I'd say. I'll just put her in top of good for now. But she's pretty good because you can one-shot Layas, one-shot anything that's really tanky. You know, you can deal with Death Dealer Rays and stuff like that. But you have to be careful sometimes about using her because she's very easily killed with like extra damage and fixed damage and stuff like that. Ocean Breeze Luca, still a good cleanser. I think she's still underrated. She was really strong in the past when she first came out for a while, but after ML Politis came out, she kind of just, you know, gets crapped on. So she does use that focus system, which is kind of required for her. And there's kind of just better cleansers in the game right now, like Laya, but I think she's still okay in what she does. She was mostly a Conquer Elias counter when Conquer Elias was like still first picked like every game, but ever since then she's kind of fallen out of the meta, but I think she's still fine. Some people still run her on defense teams and find some success for Guild Wars. Seaside Bologna, I think she's okay. Honestly, I played her into Afternoon Soak Flan, and it's not that bad, honestly, because Seaside Bologna's passive's proccing a lot, right? The Bat Back, and also does a ton of damage. And if you put her on Drink, which is what you're having her on most of the time, the fixed damage can't be evaded, so it's pretty good against Afternoon Soak Flan. Summer Break Charlotte was a very good cleave bridge unit, similar to like what Festa Ada did, just better, but still not used anymore, so we're going to put her somewhere around like here, most likely. Summertime Hysteria, still a good unit, cleave unit. She's probably a niche unit, right, because she's only really ever used in cleave, but you can still make her work. You just can't pick her early. Probably want to pick her near the end of the draft with like Requiem Rwana. Similarly, if you're playing Guild Wars offense, you kind of need to run her with like Zio, Requiem Rwana, and Summertime Hysteria to make her work for like 90% of the time, or with like a Ran. Young Senya, I think I'm going to put her in the strong tier. I don't know if she's stronger than Laya. I'm going to put her above for now because they pair well together, funnily enough. But she pairs with a ton of the strong units like Mort, even with Valencia. If you run her with together, they're very good together. She's okay with Laya herself, like I mentioned, even like Albedo if you have her. So I'm going to put her somewhere in the strong tier. I don't know if she's below Laya or above, but to be honest, people are still testing her out. I'm still testing her out. She just came out like 2 days ago as of this video's release. So we're going to be testing her even more. Maybe she's a little bit lower, maybe she's a little bit higher, but we'll see for sure in a couple of days after more testing. Now, this is it for the tier list though, guys. If you guys have any differing opinions, please let me know. And as always, thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys next video.